Good morning. Seek assistance. Now, this particular location is open for individuals.
Right at 7:45 last night, when Mr. Card was located deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that did occur at the Maine Recycling Corporation, and that's at 61 Capitol Ave in Lisbon. So when you look at this, there's a triangle here. That stop right there. Yeah, exactly. That triangle is, in fact, the Maine Recycling Corporation. And if we go down across Capitol Avenue to where that circle is, that's the overflow parking location where he was found deceased in a trailer. The owner of that facility did a great job because he was like, you know, this individual knows the property. He could be tucked in the back of one of these trailers because they're full of recycled metal and all this stuff. You could crawl over the top. Well, we cleared the trailers. We cleared trailers that are there on that business footprint. Nobody had any idea that across the street, across Capitol Avenue, there's an overflow parking lot, which is the Recycling Corporation property. So the owner was very diligent to say, well, did you clear those trailers? Well, what trailers are you talking about? You know, from a discovery standpoint of the status of the body itself, when you're talking about a few days, there's not a great deal of decomposition in that time frame. So it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I will tell you, there was a couple of firearms found at the scene. I won't be able to tell you exactly what that was. The one picture that I saw looked like he had the same sweatshirt on that he had the picture that we put out at the bowling alley. That's appeared to be the sweatshirt that he was wearing at that time. He was found closer to the sliding door component of the trailer, so he wasn't buried back further. When that happened, you know, when he took his own life, I don't know the answer to that. And again, we'll probably have a range-ish from the medical examiner's office, but not something I know right now. Right here?
As simple as he just call somebody, can you send me this thing? But what I would say is,
there's been a number of completely legitimate questions about a note that was found in his residence. So this is a paper-style note. I'm not going to read it to you verbatim, but what it is it's a note to a loved one, and is saying that this is the passcode for my phone, this is the bank account numbers, and I wouldn't describe it as a explicit suicide note, but the tone and tenor was that the individual was not going to be around and wanted to make sure that this loved one had access to his phone and whatever was in his phone.
Mr. Card, okay? So you can volunteer, as an example, to go to a facility and seek treatment for months on end. But if you're not forcibly committed,
you know, if you talk about, is there a motive here, right? I think clearly there's a mental health component to this. We still need to do some research around trying to get access to certain records and things of that nature, which again, you could probably imagine is not just as simple as he just calling somebody, hey, can you send me this thing? But what I would say is, based on what I've heard through conversations this morning, I don't see, or I'm told that we don't have access to any forcibly committed for treatment information reference to Mr. Card, okay?
And I mention that, and I mention that in this setting, because as these things evolve,
I would say that the mental health aspect of this, there's a piece of that where there's paranoia, there's some conspiracy theorist piece that I think what I've read and what I've seen is that the individual felt like people were talking about him. It may even appear that there were some voices in play here. And we don't believe that any of that is accurate. I think that led him specifically back to those two specific locations. And it also led us to, where's he going next? He used to work here, he used to be there, and what's that going to ultimately look like? So I think that's a valid question. Right here?
Those leads and that information that was uploaded to that system, got about a dozen or so search warrants that are completed.
So as far as the firearms, as far as I don't want to misidentify models or makes, but what I can tell you as far as the firearms that have been recovered, they do appear to be purchased by him.
Which, and legally purchased.
legally purchased.
Was this 10 days before this incident? We have some information that he purchased it, some days before.
Yes, some days before, there's been a number of firearms that have been recovered as part of this investigation, and some of them have been purchased very recently, and some of them years and years ago.
For the foreseeable future from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Lewiston Armory at 65 Central Ave. A separate location or a separate site providing.
Thank you for taking care of our community. Thank you very much. Take care.